Conor Russo stood on the sidewalk, watching as his latest investment went up in smoke. Literally. The street was blocked by the 3 fire trucks and nearly a dozen firefighters working to save what was, hopefully still, going to be his restaurant. Well, his and Harper Branson's restaurant. Conor still couldn't quite believe he was going into business with one of the most recognizable faces in the world. A former supermodel, Harper had graced the cover of countless magazines, and she'd spent years as the face of Siren Smile, one of the most popular perfumes on the market. Images of her, and that famous Siren Smile, consistently showed up in television commercials, on billboards, the sides of city buses, and on end cap displays at the local grocery store. He and Harper had formed a partnership nearly a year ago, their plan to open a high-end restaurant here in Philadelphia. In early November, they'd found the perfect property in a prime location of the city and had decided rather than rent the restaurant space on the bottom floor, they'd simply purchase the entire 3-story building outright, the building that was currently on fire. Conor had only met with Harper in person a handful of times, the last time being when she drove from New York City to tour the 3 different properties he'd narrowed down as their top choices. Since he lived in Philadelphia, he'd taken the lead on finding the real estate for their endeavor. They'd both agreed that this one was ideal for their plans, so they'd signed on the dotted line. The rest of their meetings had been done over video conference calls as she completed her coursework at the Institute of Culinary Education in New York, as well as finished the last of her modeling contracts. Now, here they were, mid-April, at the very beginning stages of this new business endeavor, and it was all going to shit. Conor rubbed his chest, trying not to let his anxiety get the better of him. Tonight was supposed to be a small celebration, as Harper was, at last, ready to move to Philadelphia full-time to become an active partner in the redesign and reconstruction of their future restaurant, Harper's Dining Room. The name was perfect, as Harper was known for her pleasant, girl-next-door appearance and attitude. Her entire brand was wrapped around her friendly nature, the idea for the restaurant name born from the fact that she was the type of person you'd like to share a meal with. Conor glanced down the street and saw Luca Morettis talking to one of his friends, Caden Gallo, a cop on the Philadelphia police force. Caden was clearly on duty, in uniform, and serving as crowd control for the gawkers hovering nearby to watch the action. Caden had parked his cruiser sideways at the end of the block to prevent through traffic, which was probably causing a lot of headaches in other parts of the city, as this was typically a busy thoroughfare on Saturday nights when the restaurants and bars in the area were hopping. The police barricade felt unnecessary, considering no one could drive through with all the fire trucks parked in the street, blocking both lanes. Conor wasn't surprised to discover Luca here. After all, he was the contractor on the restaurant reconstruction job, and the two of them had planned to meet tonight, right now, in fact, with Harper. Conor had been en route to the meeting when he'd gotten the call from the alarm company that a smoke detector was going off and the fire department had been alerted. Their original plan had been for Luca to give him and Harper a tour of the building, showing them what physical progress the construction crew had made thus far. Since the work on the restaurant had only started a week earlier, all that had really been accomplished was gutting the first floor completely, maintaining the retaining walls, while taking the entire place down to studs. Luca looked over, spotted him, and gave him a quick wave. Conor nodded once, then glanced away, turning his attention back to the building, shaking his head in disbelief once more. Prior to their acquisition, the bottom floor of the building had been a pizza parlor, though that business had been closed for nearly 6 months. The top 2 floors had been sectioned off to create 6 small apartments, 3 on each floor. Upon purchasing the building, they'd honored the remainder of the leases of the current renters, but didn't re-up them. The last person moved out a few weeks ago.